Actually, you just said I'm ready, and now I feel like I'm really low. Hi!
Hi.
I'm gonna prop you on this, but now you can see my stuff on my thing. Okay. That might not be better.
Hello, hello. We're here to talk about the November Magic Treehouse read-along books. There were 4 of them. Would you like to display them?
I would. We're so far into this little game of ours. Well, they're actually the opposite. We read Moonlight on the Magic Flute, A Good Night for Ghosts, Leprechaun in Late Winter, and A Ghost Tale for Christmas Time. At least I hope those are the ones we were supposed to read, because
They
those
were.
are the ones I read.
They were the right ones.
Hi.
Hi. I'm
Did
at
you finish?
63%
Okay.
in the last one. I failed my speed run.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, you're practically there.
Yeah.
So do we just want to start with the first one?
Yeah, we do. I will say that this was, just as a whole, a satisfying month because it was one of the months where we read 4 and the 4 belonged together.
I agree. I love
So that was a fun, fresh time. I'm just pulling in my rating.
And I'm pretty sure that also means they all were like written and published in the same year.
Oh.
Because I think she writes them in batches of 4 and like
For a year.
Yeah. We like that.
I've never really paid attention to that, I guess.
Yeah.
In terms of a year.
Yeah, this I think was like 2009.
Yeah, I do know that because I typed that into my spreadsheets. I just don't pay attention.
Yeah. And that's interesting because I specifically remember when Leprechaun in Late Winter was at the Scholastic Book Fair.
Cute.
I didn't get to have it, but it was there.
Oh, look, my stickers are intact once again.
Fun.
I'm always impressed getting the used copies that none of them have been missing.
Lizzie was reading so fast, she didn't even think about ratings. You'll come up with them as we speak.
Yeah, on the fly.
That's how we do it. So Moonlight on the Magic Flute. What did we rate it? Except Lizzie, I guess.
I gave it 2 stars.
Okay, that's fair. I gave it 3.5, but on reflection, it feels more like a 3. Wait,
Okay.
am I reading the right one? Yeah, I'm reading the right one.
That's fair.
She's skipping ahead to the ghost one.
We're not there yet, Lizzie.
Yeah, but this one she thought was decent. I don't know. I just feel like not much happened.
I'm trying to find, because I had to return it to check out another book on my Libby, but I think I highlighted stuff.
If you go, you know the little clock in the bottom right corner of Libby? This one?
Yep. Oh, fantastic. Can I see what I highlighted that way?
Yeah, click on the book.
Okay.
And then scroll down to where it says Reading Journey.
Okay.
And then see more. And you see the list of highlights. And if you click on the highlight, it'll come up with what it highlighted.
Well, I must not have highlighted it in this one then. Okay, good talk.
Because see, on mine, I have all these highlights. And then if I click on it, it comes up like this.
No. No, mine's not doing that, but okay.
Oh, the reason Lizzie mentioned the Obama election is because it was relevant to the year it came out. So they mentioned
the
election in that.
I did also notice that when it happened.
Okay.
Because the black man will be president.
Yeah.
Okay, but once again, we're not on that one yet.
Yeah. So Moonlight on the Magic Flute, you apparently didn't highlight.
I do not recall.
We're just gonna go through my highlights. First, we learned that Annie takes piano lessons because she was riding her bike home from her piano lesson. Fun.
That is fun. They're busy.
And also relevant to this book.
But they didn't play the piano.
No, but it's about music.
Okay,
He
yeah.
played the harpsichord, though, and it's a relative of a piano.
Yeah. Percussion.
You know what a harpsichord is?
Isn't it like one of these things?
No, that's a harp. Let me show you a picture of a harpsichord.
Okay. Is it like a keyboard that...
Yeah, this is a harpsichord.
Oh, yeah, that is relevant. That almost looks like a piano.
Yeah, that's what I said. The piano's relevant.
Me just not knowing instruments.
Great. I'm sure this was thrilling for you. Okay, they asked Teddy and Kathleen if they have a research book for them, and they're like, no. And I was mad about it because I was like, I, like Jack and Annie, want them to have a research book. And it was really weird in this group of four because for half of them, like in alternating ones, they did get a research book, and then in the others, they didn't.
Mary Pope is unhinged at this point. I'm convinced.
I
She doesn't know what she's doing.
cannot stand it. And in both cases, whenever they didn't have a book, they then went and like Googled the person after they got home. So I don't know if Mary Pope is trying to infuse some like research internet literacy for the young readers. This is how you Google something, but it threw me. Okay, so they're basically, some of these has research books, some didn't. Yes. So they're cast back into time, and Annie is wearing this huge hoop skirt dress. And Jack is dressed up fancy, and he has a wig and a tricorn hat. And he's upset about his wig, especially because a little boy makes fun of him for having it on askew. And he doesn't want to wear it, but Annie says, if I have to wear this, you have to wear that. Which I thought was hilarious.
Yes.
And the hoop skirt, the dialogue about the hoop skirt comes back in the later books in this set, and I appreciated it.
Yes.
We'll get there later.
Yeah.
The only positive thing that Annie says about her dress is that she feels like Cinderella going to the ball, which was cute. That was precious. And then we spend the rest of the book with Jack being annoyed out of his mind with this little kid named Wolfie.
Yep.
Which is the same kid that made fun of him for having his wig on like askew. And when they see him, is that Wolfie? Hi, Wolfie.
No, but I thought I liked this drawing.
Well, that is Wolfie.
Oh, yeah, it is. I have COVID. That's my excuse.
So when they see him inside the building, Annie says, he's cute. And she waved back at him. And Jack says, not really. And every time Jack was sassy in this book, I highlighted it. So buckle in.
I did figure out how to get my highlights through the Kindle app, but not through Libby. So I think that's why I'm having an issue with this one, is that since I returned it, it's not in my Kindle app anymore.
Oh, and you read it on Kindle?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's why it didn't come up.
Oh, yeah, you don't read them on Kindle.
No, I don't.
I'm like, Libby does not show me my Kindle highlights.
But Goodreads should, right?
But I didn't mark it as read yet.
Then mark it as read.
But I don't know if it'll pull it now that I already returned it.
Yeah, it should. Mine pull mine even when my iPad is on airplane mode when I finish a book.
Oh, T.
Yeah. I don't know how. It's magic.
Do you believe in magic?
Another thing that Wolfie has.
Moving on.
Another thing that Wolfie has is a small sword. And Jack says, "A sword? That's ridiculous. He can't be more than 4 or 5 years old."
They talk a lot in this set about the people they're seeing, like, being children.
Yeah. Which is funny to me because they are children, and usually they travel back in time, and the people take them seriously, even though they're children. But
Yeah.
now they're seeing children, and they're like, "That is a child."
Exactly.
The sword was such a silly detail. Yes.
I just read this yesterday, and I feel like I don't remember it that well.
And then we get introduced to Jack of Frog Creek, the clown.
Yes, iconic. He's like having the most embarrassing moment of his life. And everyone's like, what a great performance.
Yeah, which was really great, and I think is a good reminder to all of us who have the same level of neuroticism or anxiety
Oh,
as Jack of Frog Creek, that when we mess up, people aren't judging us as being stupid or something. They're usually just like, haha, that's so silly.
right.
Um,
I mean, that's a motto I live by. Like, I feel like when people need advice and I have anxiety about seeing people, I'm like, nobody's thinking about you as much as you think they are.
yeah. They don't care.
No.
So who are they talking to? They're talking to somebody. It might be Wolfie and his older sister, Nan. Was that her name? And they're like, ask what they're doing there. And Annie says, "Oh, we're on a mission too." And then Jack interrupts her and says, "To party with brilliant artists."
What?
Which didn't sound like Jack at all to me.
No, it doesn't.
We're here to party. Okay, Jack's sass continues. They have an interaction where Jack is like short with Wolfie about something, and Annie says that was bad manners, and Jack says, "Who, us or them?"
You know, every day I realize why I relate to Jack more and more.
Exactly. I'm on a mission to party. So then Wolfie runs away and he runs into the garden, and Jack and Annie go out there looking for him, and they see a bunch of animals, and this bear comes up to Jack.
Yes.
And Jack says, "Hi."
Yes.
I said, "Sees a bear. Hi."
Hi. I do remember that. I feel like I highlighted that, but we'll never know.
One of my favorite things. Yeah, there he is. Hi. One of my favorite things is just everybody calling Jack a clown again and again, and him continually being like, "Stop calling me that." And Annie's just like, "It's Jack the clown."
Yeah, the song. Exactly. Also, like, how unhinged was Wolfie to let the animals out?
Yeah. No, he was crazy with it. But he was also 6.
Yeah.
And had a small sword. So
He thought he could handle it.
he could do anything, you know? And he was actually waving that sword at the animals after they got out, right?
I don't remember.
That was great. So in this whole set of 4, the thing is like they took the wand of Dianthus and they keep changing it into some magical musical instrument. And in this one, it was a flute.
I played the flute.
Did you?
In only the 5th grade.
Nice. Flute was my mom's main instrument.
Oh.
Yep. But she's, fun fact, allergic to nickel, which most flutes are made out of.
So does she have a fancy one that's not nickel?
Yeah, she had to get a fancy one.
Yeah. I didn't return my flute. That was technically a rented flute, and my mom had to pay a shit ton of money.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Great, good talk. So they play this little song, and Wolfie like remembers why he likes music again, which is good because honestly, to be over music by the age of 6 is a little depressing.
A little dramatic, if you ask me.
Yeah,
Save his career at 6 years old.
exactly. It's like he's nearing the end of the line. 6 years old, playing the harpsichord, which Bailey doesn't know what that is.
Right. Just learned today.
There is one quote where he says, "Music is magic. I love music." And that just made me really happy because I thought that was super cute. And I also thought my mom would like that quote.
I also wonder what Annie would think about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce right now.
How is that related?
Music. Okay, move on.
Lizzie said, "We never really saw him not liking music. Like, where's the evidence he needed saving?" Okay, I kind of agree, but on the other hand, he was supposed to be getting ready to perform and he ran away to let a bunch of animals out of their cages instead. Like, he was avoiding, that's why they were looking for him, because he was supposed to be performing at that time and he ran away. So
His
Jack
priorities were twisted.
we're gonna go get him. Yeah, exactly. Jack and Annie didn't know why they were looking for him. In fact, Jack this entire time was like, "We need to start our mission." Okay, true, very avoidant behavior.
Mhm.
Yes. So he goes up, he's playing the harpsichord, and we learn that not only do Jack and Annie's piano teacher loves the music of Mozart. That's normal for a piano teacher, but we also learn that their parents love the music of Mozart too.
That's boring.
It's a fact about their parents. We rarely learn anything about their
true.
parents.
It's like the second thing ever that we know about their parents.
Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was interesting.
Okay.
I was continually impressed in all of these, but especially in this first one, because I think Annie sang more songs in this first one than they sang in any of the other ones. How they just improvised whole rhyming songs out of nowhere. It was so impressive. And it's actually relevant to my day to day because I woke up in the middle of the night and let me see if I can find the note I took in the middle of the night because I had a dream and I was like, I cannot forget this dream. It says, one of my professors was at Steve's test and said we needed to improvise songs. My dreaming brain was listening to other fully rhyming songs while trying to compose my own song in a panic. So last night, I was like simultaneously writing a rhyme in my dream and listening to somebody else's rhyme, and it was insane. I woke up and I was like, how did my brain do that? This note about Annie made me think about that dream.
Yeah, that's crazy. But I don't remember them ever saying that the songs had to rhyme.
Yeah, but they all did.
Yeah, it really stood out to me also that they did, because then I was like, did I miss that it has to rhyme? And I don't think they said it did have to rhyme.
Nope. I think people do have trouble with the idea of a song that doesn't rhyme. They're like, is it a song? I don't know. Also, have they had to use rhymes in other ways before? Because if so,
I keep yawning. I'm sorry. It's my midnight.
As long as you're not bored with me.
I'm not.
Okay. And so yeah, they save the day and they go home. And I don't know why, but this just made me like happy. It's like, you know, sometimes you worry about the kids of the future, and even though this is a fake kid, Jack knew a good dinner was waiting for them at home. Just made my heart happy because I love Jack and Annie, and I was like, they deserve it.
Yeah.
That was sweet. So yeah, that was that book.
That was that one. For some
Any other thoughts on it?
For some reason, I don't know why my brain hardly remembers it. The next one
wasn't a very memorable one. I think the thing that was the most memorable about it to me was calling him Wolfie the whole time.
Yeah.
That really.
There's another one later that you're literally gonna hate me because I'm gonna be worse than I just was on this one.
Okay, noted. Speaking of other ones, A Good Night for Ghosts. What did we rate it?
I gave this one 3 stars. I like this one.
I gave it 3.5, and I think I'm sticking by that.
Okay. A true 3.5 this time.
Exactly. It always takes like at least 1 or 2 every month to calibrate me. You know what I mean?
Like, okay, this is what we're doing again.
Right. Lizzie also liked this one.
Yay!
Really, because she mentioned it earlier.
It's the one she truly wanted to talk about.
Yeah. And this one is set in New Orleans or New Orleans, depending on who you are.
Yeah.
And they're meeting Louis Armstrong.
Which I didn't really know who he was, if I'm being honest. Don't do that to me. I live under a rock.
Sorry. A harpsichord I can understand. Louis Armstrong? Whatever. There was one person in the set of 4 books that I didn't know of before, and that did actively hamper my enjoyment of the book that was about that person.
Okay.
So that is noted. I go feral whenever it's somebody that I like know about, even if I don't know much about them. Like I just know that it's them in the book. I lose my mind.
Yeah.
So this one was about Louis Armstrong. Once again, he is a child, but he is not 6 in this one. He's like an older child.
Wasn't he like 12 or 13?
Yeah. Okay, we're not there yet, but that's the one I was talking about.
Slow down.
Okay.
Sorry, my baby is like babbling.
Your baby's allowed to live. Like that's okay, so in this one, I love how every time they get like a different message about the magic treehouse being there, like sometimes it's just this gut instinct that Annie has.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes it's like an actual sign. And in this one, she dreamed about it. And she goes, I dreamed it. And Jack is so tired and he's half asleep. And he goes, oh, you dreamed it. And he goes back to sleep. So Sassy Jack returns.
Iconic.
And then like 30 seconds after that, she says something else. And then it says, Jack pretended to snore.
Okay, actually, I will say I remember not liking the first one as much because I didn't find any like lines that stood out and I LOL'd at, and this one I did LOL.
Yeah, this one had some LOLs to it. Yeah. Do you have notes for this one or not?
I have 3 things I highlighted apparently.
Great. So you'll just cut in when you get there, I guess.
Sure.
So they're given their mission. They go back in time. This time they do have a book.
Yes.
Which is important to the plot later. So they arrive and then they go, wow, we're barefoot. That's cool. I don't know why that got me.
I feel in my heart that we need to do a live reading of one of these. Because I think like when the things like that come up as we went through it, it would just be way too funny.
Yeah. Especially, I don't know, I'd read it really sarcastically.
I love your rehashings, so I can't imagine.
So they go in their barefoot and they think that's cool, but later it will backfire on them.
I mean, yeah, the first thing I noted is that Annie said, at least I can run in these pants. I like them a lot better than the dress I wore on our last mission.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
And that'll continue happening in these next few books.
Yes.
She hated that hoop skirt. And girly, I feel you. But okay. I forget what they say, but Jack's like, do we have a plan? And Annie says something that is like not a plan. And Jack says, I guess that's a plan. Sort of.
The attitude.
I love him. They one thing that they don't know when they land is what year they're in, because they don't know where to find Louis Armstrong. And when they read their research book, it said like that he performed in different spots depending on his age. And so they're trying to figure out how old he is, so they need to know the year. So they go up to this guy selling newspapers, and they ask the date, and he gives like the month and the day.
Yeah.
Right. They're like, what year is it? And he tells them the year, but he's like, what the heck? And they go, oh right, it's a different year in Frog Creek, Pennsylvania than here in New Orleans. I forgot.
Yeah.
But no, that was the guy selling the newspaper who said that. Like that was his joke. And then Annie says, well, yeah.
Like throw it back on him like he's the idiot.
Not only do we get sassy Jack in this one several times, but we also get Jack is afraid of ghosts.
Yes.
That's a big theme in this one, if it were. So much so that it says he didn't like ghosts. He didn't even like thinking about them.
Too much.
Which is a level of fear I can relate to. Maybe not about ghosts, but about some things in life. And definitely when I was Jack's age.
I could never read the like scary storybooks because I was too frightened.
Oh, me neither. There is, to this day, my violin teacher told us this one scary story. This was when I was in like 5th grade. And to this day, it freaks me out. And it freaked me out so much so it had to do with a babysitter. And a couple years after that, my sister and I started babysitting. And I'm so glad that my sister and I always babysat together because of this story. Because the creepy story has a babysitter in it, and like the babysitter is in danger. And it involves like a call, like somebody calling the house. And so every time the phone would ring when we were babysitting, we'd like look at each other.
Like, I can't be the babysitter.
We're like, oh my God. And it scared me so bad, even though sometimes we'd be in a house where there was like no upstairs or like no attic. And in the story, the like bad guy comes down from like there. And so like we could see the whole house. There was no upstairs, but we were like, he's going to arrive.
Yeah.
Hi, Andrew. We're talking about Magic Treehouse.
Hi, welcome.
Okay, so this is the moment in which their barefoot situation is coming back to get them because some people are rude to them. And
at the restaurant?
Yes, at the restaurant. And Zach says, I think it's the way we look or our clothes. No, he says, I think it's the way we look. Our clothes make us look poor and we don't have shoes on. And then Annie says, it's not fair.
Yeah.
And
where was the lie?
Yeah, it's not going to be fair, Annie. And in this one, Annie learns a lot of things that are not fair in the world, which is sad to see. It's sad to see.
Yeah.
You have an exam due later. Go do it. So they go and they find Louis Armstrong.
They do. Dipper himself.
Yeah, Dipper himself. And they're like, our friends Teddy and Kathleen sent us. And he goes, oh yeah, Teddy and Kathleen. And they say,
do you know Teddy
and Kathleen? He goes, no man, I've never heard of them.
Yes.
And immediately I fell in love with this character.
Yeah. Same.
Because it was so funny.
Yeah, my character's category for this one was high for a Magic Treehouse.
Yeah. They go and they're doing something and they try to have like a serious discussion and it's not going well. And all I highlighted, and I totally forget the context for this, is this is a bad time for a serious discussion, Jack thought. Which was great. We then get the first instance of Louis Armstrong calling them potato heads.
Yes.
Which I thought was hilarious. I've never heard that before.
I mean, yeah, he's once again kind of just calling them stupid.
Yeah, and I'm living for it. There's talk of ghosts, and Louis Armstrong is like, I'm not afraid, and Jack says, me neither.
A blatant lie.
A blatant lie.
Doesn't he say, like, I just don't want them to know that I'm scared of ghosts?
Yeah. Which, like, own it, Jack. Own it. They go on, they're basically spending the day following him around doing jobs, and every time he keeps being like, okay, bye, they keep then like following him.
No.
This next job. Anyway, they're having this conversation, and it's not a funny one, but I liked it. I think it was an interesting conversation because I'm not sure that Mary Pope has like introduced this theme before into these books. And so he's saying, I feel all kinds of things. All day long, I feel things. You could say I have a rich life. I might not get to have everything, but I get to feel everything. And I just liked it. Wanted to shout it out.
That is a good sentiment.
It is. And then they do something crazy because he like keeps being like, no, I can't play music. I have to make money.
Yeah.
All these things. And like, no matter what they're doing, it's not working. And so Annie says, we might have to do something really drastic. And Jack says, what's that? And she goes, show him our research book. Now, I have a couple thoughts about this. It is akin to when they brought Ben Franklin to the future.
It's like the space-time continuum. You cannot show him the information that has not happened yet.
It's messed up, especially because in this one, I don't think they said to him, like, promise to keep this a secret. Like, when they brought Ben Franklin to the future, they were like, you can't tell anybody we did this. But this time, he's like, just looking at the book. Yeah, it was Ben Franklin energy. Most of the time, they find a way around it. But sometimes they're just like, I give up. We have to ruin this timeline.
They haven't used their musical thing yet.
Yeah. Don't they use it? What did they use it for again in this one?
I don't remember, but I was just at the page where they were.
Oh, wasn't it when there were ghosts?
Ghosts. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is a stupid reason to use it and then interrupt the space-time continuum because you already used your trumpet. Oh, there was one time at like 81% that Jack says, right, man? And I was like, Jack cannot say man. That is illegal. I was unwell.
It's like not something he would ever say.
No,
we know what Jack would say at this point.
And then they find out that like racism is a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, are you kidding? That's crazy. And I said, yes, Annie, racism is crazy.
And then they spoil about Obama.
Yeah.
The space-time continuum.
Yeah. Which I feel like Obama was not relevant to Louis Armstrong's like decision to go back to music, you know? And so I feel like he could have been left out.
Not at all.
And it's also going to age this particular book quite a bit. Oh,
yeah.
I think. So there's that. Yeah, that was my next highlight. And one day an African-American man will run for president of the United States and millions of people of all colors will vote for him, which is like a really nice sentiment. And I remember that election year. That was the first election that I like really remember.
Yeah.
But
it's also at this point going to age this to being like when there had only been one.
Right. That's so true.
President. Like this is clearly hinting that there's only been one.
Right. So hopefully it'll be out of date very soon.
Yeah.
And then my last highlight was just, I feel mad that Dipper couldn't sit on the streetcar with us because like, I think Annie is the most pure thing ever.
Yeah. Like she really doesn't get it. Like she's really like, why would it be this way?
Yeah. And
makes no sense
for it.
Yeah.
I love her for it. I want everybody to be like Annie with a little bit of the paranoia of Jack because I think you need some of it. Jack and Annie are a nice balance in that way. Yeah. If it was just Jack, nothing would ever happen. If it was just Annie, things would happen, but not the right things, you know?
They would be in danger.
Right? Constantly. So that was that one. Lizzie, did you have any more thoughts on A Good Night for Ghosts? I was not very invested in the like actual ghost part of it, I will say.
I wasn't invested in the plot, right, but I was invested in the character of Louis Armstrong. And our nonfiction that we're reading next month was because this is set in New Orleans.
Yes. Or New Orleans, depending on who you are.
However you want to say it. But the just because that's the nonfiction, I did read the like facts after the book, and it did talk about in 2005, Hurricane Katrina, one of the deadliest storms in American history. Talked about it, and that's what the nonfiction book is about.
Lizzie just got pizza, yum yum, and also liked the characterization in this one.
I'm pretty sure my kids are crying because Chris is trying to put the new TV up.
That's good.
So they're probably both just laying places they shouldn't be while he tries to do that.
Great. Good stuff.
He did let me know that neither of us, he called the jury duty thing. We're in different groups, and neither of our groups got called for next week. So
that's good.
Yeah.
Okay. Should we talk about leprechauns? Yep. What did you give it?
1 star. I retained no information from this whatsoever. Like, literally could not focus on this. I have no clue what happened. Don't know who this lady is. Don't know anything. No thoughts had empty. This was bad.
I gave it a 3. It's like, listen, some of my Magic Treehouses, how to describe this? It's like a half point up if what I would give it if it wasn't a Magic Treehouse.
Okay.
That's how I Magic Treehouse, you know?
Okay, yeah.
So this, if it was not a Magic Treehouse, would be more like a 2.5. But it's a Magic Treehouse, so it's a 3.
Okay. I mean, it's for the, like, we're invested in the series as well.
Yeah. I like Jack and Annie. This one is the one, neither Lizzie or I knew who this person was. And
no, I didn't
either. It was the only non-recognizable one I thought of the group of them. And that really made me not care about it.
Which is sad, like, because we should be excited to learn about new things, but I also just, like, what was the plot?
But also, we didn't learn much about her. Like, we learned something at the very end when they Google her, but that's it. Otherwise, we see her get kidnapped by leprechauns and be a jerk, you know? Like, that's all we see. So that doesn't tell us much. In fact, my first, I guess, I was about to say my first highlight is at 52%, but then I realized that this thing that I was highlighting was a collection of both the previous two. So I guess it's near the beginning. Oh, yeah. They didn't get a book this time. And I said that they didn't get a book this time because they heckin' cheated last time.
Yeah, they shared their book. They're like, you can't have a book because you're just telling people, you're just showing people your book.
Exactly. They're like, you can't have a book. And that's not what they said. But I was like, I see it. I see it so clearly. They can't have a book because they used the book last time.
Yeah, like, these are the consequences of your actions.
Yeah. You have to learn that. When will you
Apparently,
learn?
I did highlight stuff in this.
Consequences.
I highlighted the fact that Jack was taking notes before they left.
Yeah.
And then I highlighted the quote, every day you must ask yourselves, what am I good for? So, like, that's kind of bullshit because you don't have to be good for anything if you don't want.
No. What's the Tumblr post that's like, it's talking about like what you need to do to be successful, and it's like, you are an animal. You need to eat. You need to sleep. You need to exist. Are you existing today? You are successful.
Yes. And I have a final highlight from like really close to the end of the book.
You can say it now. You can just jump in.
It was the thing where they're like, Jack says, I'd probably read some kind of instructions first, then give it a try, said Jack. I'd probably give it a try first and then read the instructions.
I highlighted that too because I was like, if you had to give a 1-sentence description of the difference between Jack and Annie,
This
I
is
would
it.
probably read the instructions first. I would probably just try it.
Yeah,
And I am Jack all the way through with that one.
same. I mean, I am Jack.
Yeah.
What more can I say?
We are Jack. Annie's fun, but we're not Annie.
No.
So they didn't get a book because they cheated. They show up. They're wearing like dirty clothes, but like not really dirty. And anyway, everybody's judging them again for being poor, and they're like, ugh. And Jack's inner monologue goes, Jack didn't think they looked that bad.
I was so checked out from this one.
Yeah. So they go to this place and they're trying to find this girl, and they kind of sneak in by lying a little bit, which they do commonly nowadays. It's an alarming pattern, and because they lie in the next one too.
Yeah,
So
they sure do.
in this one, they get into the house, and the girl like brings them into a place to have like tea because she's trying to be like. She's trying to show that she's a good person.
Yeah.
Really. So they go to have tea and there are books, and Jack like lights up when there are books. And I was like, I love that Jack is like it basically the way that it said it, Jack was like more comfortable once he saw the books. And I was like, I love him. That's all. I lost it. So basically they leave the house because she's like, you can't read. And then they're arguing about whether or not she's a good person. And Jack calls her a snob. He's like, yeah, well, you're a snob.
I do not remember any of this.
It was incredible. It was one of my favorite Jack moments because that's usually a thing that Annie would say.
Oh,
but he was fed up. He was like, no, you're acting like this good person, but you're a snob, which was hilarious.
Yeah, that's iconic.
So they go to meet this lady that the girl is going to have testify basically on her behalf that she is a good person. And they go and she starts telling them, well, first she finds out that they actually can read and write because Jack is taking notes. And then the
like
girl
they said before.
Oh, I guess you can do that.
Yeah. Like, yeah, I told you.
And they're like, yeah, we even perform with Shakespeare, blah, blah, blah. And she's like losing it. So then this old woman starts telling these stories about these magical creatures. I guess they're fairies, right? And the little girl doesn't believe in them anymore. And so Jack and Annie use their magic Irish pipe to call out these fairies. And then Annie accidentally, right? It's Annie that's singing this time? Or is it Jack? No, it's Jack. Jack accidentally sings for them to take her away. So they kidnap her. And then they have to go save her. And so I said, I love a double mission.
We literally had to throw something in to spice this one up.
Yeah, that was wild. And so Jack and Annie found this leprechaun trying to play their pipe, and he was like, how old is Augusta here? She's no idea. Maybe a tween? Yeah, because Jack is singing from his notes. Yes. So he sings from the notes and they kidnap her. So Jack and Annie find this leprechaun who got left behind when the fairies ran away. And he's trying to play their little Irish pipe. And he's like, how do you get it to like sound good? Anyway. And he ends up taking them to get her back. And then finally they do the reveal at the end about like who she is. And I just said, I don't know who this is.
Yeah. Like, are we supposed to know? It's giving like when people are like, don't you know who I am? And it's like, no.
Yeah. I was like, oh, she wrote some Irish folk tales.
Sweet. Cool.
That's not a common thing that I read, you know? Right. I don't know. So I just didn't really care about that. No, those were all my notes for that one, to be honest. Like, I just didn't have. It was weird to have 3 quite famous people and then her. Yeah.
Yep.
I agree. There are way more famous women, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, if Annie was going to be upset about racism, why not throw in Rosa Parks, you know? Like, there are options. Or like, oh, let's see, women musicians or writers that were like really,
That's why I'm
really
like, there's like a whole list of writers they could have named.
Mary Pope Osborne. Imagine.
That would be so meta. Is that the word I'm looking
So
for?
funny. Oh wait, I think I saved some photos that I forgot to show you.
Photos
Like pictures.
of what?
Photos
like pictures. Yeah, I know the photos are like pictures.
Emily Dickinson, that would have been
Yeah,
good. The Bronte sisters, anyone
exactly. That's what I
really.
was thinking, right?
Okay, this one is from A Good Night for Ghosts, in which they're all inside, but Jack is so scared of going inside where the ghosts are that he's standing in the rain.
Yeah.
This made me laugh out loud.
The pictures are my favorite part. I think that anybody who listened or has been listening to these on audiobooks are truly missing out.
Yeah. I did listen to The Leprechaun on audiobook, but that's not why I liked it less. I didn't like it as much because I didn't know who she was.
Yeah.
So there's that. Okay. Ghost Tale for Christmas time. What we give it?
This was my favorite one,
Same.
but like 3.5 still.
I gave it a 4. So
Okay.
in non-magic treehouse, that's like 3.5.
True. Facts.
Yeah, I really liked this one. I'm especially nostalgic for A Christmas Carol because growing up for years, starting when I was in, I can't decide if it was late middle, I think it was late middle school. I was in a local production of A Christmas Carol that started.
Oh.
And this year, that production is turning 10 years old. They're having
Wow.
their 10th anniversary of having it every year with the same director. And I was in it for so many of those years.
Oh. We took a field trip to see A Christmas Carol when I was maybe in like, I feel like it was like early middle school.
Mm-hmm. This is the one Lizzie did not finish, but medium vibes.
Oh.
I'm sorry to tell you, Lizzie, I'm going to be spoiling this one. You can probably guess what happens at the end anyway. It's a Magic Treehouse book. So yeah.
Oh, my first thing that I highlighted, because I'm in my sunrise era.
Uh-huh. Oh my God, why did I take so many notes in this one?
Jack said, November has really short days, said Jack. Yeah, but it has really beautiful skies, said Annie.
Annie gets you.
Yeah, but I am Jack.
But the ending of A Group of Four is always the best. We get to see Morgan and Merlin. Yes, we do get to see them.
Wait, do we care about seeing them?
Lizzie does.
Okay.
I just highlight the most random stuff. Like this, yeah. I highlighted run, said Annie. I'm running, said Jack.
What more do you want me to do?
Yeah. Okay. I just loved this whole period of Annie being like, could you not put me in a dress again? She was like, it was really hard to run and do stuff in those clothes. Can I please wear something else? And they're like, you could, but you're gonna have to act like a boy. And she's like,
and she's like, that's fine. Yeah.
And I just, that was so queer coded to me in the best way. I loved her for it. We then learned this obscure fact that Jack really likes violin music.
Oh, my other thing about this one was that I actually thought that the chapter headers in this were real pretty. The violin, wrong way situation is pretty. Yeah. Prettier than the other instruments looked.
So Jack likes violin music. Who would have thunk it?
Yeah, kind of out of pocket.
So they go back in time, whoosh whoosh. And this time they're dressed up in some pretty nice clothes.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, I didn't like being poor on our last 2 missions.
Yeah, they're like, oh, we have money.
Yeah. Also, they keep in this one, they referred to Mozart as Wolfie Mozart.
Yeah.
And I said calling him Wolfie was one thing, but calling him Wolfie Mozart is unacceptable to me. Just call him Mozart.
They're just children. They don't get it.
Annie says, I've got an idea, and Jack says, no, you don't.
Savage.
Good stuff. And then they lie again, and they switch clothes with some chimney sweeps.
Before that, though, they gave the cab driver a good tip.
Yeah, on accident.
And I just kept thinking, like, they have no concept of money here.
They don't. Because it's a different money than they're used to. And it's worth totally different amount. Yeah. I just remind myself, if I was living in that time, people would think I was rich.
Exactly. Exactly.
So they swap their clothes for the chimney sweeps to lie and get inside.
Yeah.
And then people aren't as nice to them anymore. And they say, everyone was nice to us when we looked rich. Now it feels like the whole world's against us.
That
and so
was my other highlight.
Yeah, I really feel like Mary Pope was infusing the message of how
privilege,
socioeconomic status and privilege impact people in ways that, like, kids who don't get it don't get.
Yeah.
And was like, go manage Treehouse.
Yeah.
Oh, and they're mad about it. It says, and he was mad. Oh, no. That was, okay. This was the stupid thing. Whenever I highlight, but it goes on to the next page. And like, highlight. Okay. So it says, and he was mad at Merlin, Teddy, and Kathleen. Why'd they send him and Annie to such a terrible place? And I said, I think that this is the first time Jack has been angry at the people who sent them on these missions. And yet this is not the most dangerous mission they've been on.
By far.
When their lives are in danger, they were like, I'm so glad we got sent here.
Right.
But this time, now that some people are being rude to them, Jack is like, I can't believe they sent us here.
Like, you've been actually in danger before, buddy.
Yeah. Okay, and then, so they go in, and they end up meeting Charles Dickens. And he says, remember, goodness dresses in rags and patches as often as dresses in velvet and silk, which I just appreciated. Again, hammering that point home, Mary Pope. I liked it. Being rich doesn't make you good. In fact, it usually has the opposite effect.
Yeah.
Okay, Annie reveals herself to be a girl. And she says, sorry, Mr. Dickens, but this is the real me.
It's giving The Greatest Showman, if you know the scene.
I'm
Is it a yes or
the
no?
scene that you're talking about.
The one where the bearded lady, my favorite song from that soundtrack. I refuse to sing it. Yeah. It's giving that.
Yeah. Then they use their magical violin to give him visions of the 3 ghosts so that he has this idea to write this book and
like they're going to create the book.
Right. And so he says, they showed me visions of myself in the past, the present, and the future. Really? Said Annie. That sounds like a scene in a book. And then he's talking about this like mean old man. And he's like, what shall I call him? And he goes, how about Scrooge?
That sounds great, right?
This child is writing this book.
Yeah. Annie gets all the credit. Because then he says too, like, I think I'm going to name it this. And
that's
one
my
of them
next
is like,
highlight. And Jack says,
Maybe you
or
could
maybe
call
you
it a
could just
Christmas
call it
Carol.
a Christmas Carol.
He's like, you're right.
Oh, I love that. And Charles Dickens says, everyone loves a ghost story, don't they? Well, started Jack.
Oh, poor guy.
Okay, then when they're reflecting on the mission, they go, he never even knew that it was us who helped him. That's the best way to help someone, I think, said Annie. Why?
Yeah.
Asked Jack. Then you know you're not helping them just to get a lot of credit, said Annie. You're helping because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah. She's not wrong.
I know it's not funny for me to read the moral lessons of this, but I think they're cute.
We need to find a child to read these with us and ask them if they realize the message, because that's sometimes how I feel like a kid's not gonna like get the message.
Well, that's why she's really like
Right.
hitting them over the head.
Right. Like, let me spell this out for you.
Okay, so then they go back and they do indeed see Merlin and Morgan and Penny the penguin. I was thrilled.
I missed that.
Yeah, Penny's there. Penny, said Jack, waddling behind Merlin, was the baby penguin Jack and Annie had given to Merlin after their trip to Antarctica.
That went over my head.
And then they basically just, patted them on the back.
Yeah.
Moved on. And then Jack and Annie were going to see a production of A Christmas Carol with their parents at the Frog Creek Little Theater.
Yeah, that is cute.
Which is this theater right here.
Adorable.
It's so cute. It's so cute. And then my last note was from the More Facts About Charles Dickens section.
Okay, yes.
Because it says that A Christmas Carol was written, and I didn't know this, at a time when Christmas traditions were on the decline, and that it's often credited with reviving holiday customs. And I had no idea.
I did read that.
Yeah. I did read that.
As well. I read that section as well.
Yeah. I thought that was so interesting.
I mean, yeah, it is interesting because didn't it say... What am I getting at? That's what you just said. Yeah. I was going to say, didn't it say that it said that it was credited for, like, basically reviving Christmas?
Yeah, bringing it back, which is interesting because, like, we live in an age in which Christmas is so popular, and all Christmas-related books are written because they know that people are celebrating Christmas already. And this one was written, and he's like, I know it's on the decline, but I'm just going to write this thing.
Yeah. Fa la 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 la.
Exactly. And that's so wacky to me because now, like, people specifically write Christmas books because there's a market for Christmas books.
Right.
Which is wacky.
Yeah, but Christmas was in its flop era, apparently.
Exactly. So those are my thoughts on that. Every time I do this, I feel like my recaps are terrible, so I'm sorry.
Your recaps are everything and give me my whole reason for living.
I think you're lying to me, but thank you. So important announcements about next month. 2 things. 1, the nonfiction book is The Yellow House by, is it Sarah Broom?
Couldn't tell you, but I know it's about New Orleans and Katrina and this family who's lived in a house.
Yep. And then announcement 2, we're going to be combining the December and January live shows because it's a crazy end of the year.
Yeah, it turns out I have 36 Christmases to go to.
Exactly. And we already have to do a live show for Shelf This.
Correct.
So
we're double book clubbing in December.
Yeah, so we're going to save that live show for January, but I highly recommend that if you're participating in Squash Chat series, which all 3 of us currently present are, I would still recommend reading the nonfiction book in December if you can. It'll be easier to remember the nonfiction.
Yeah.
We'll have plenty of Magic Treehouse to talk about in January, even if we have nothing to say about the nonfiction. So just do that and don't worry about it during Squash Chat series. Instead, read Magic Treehouse during Squash Chat series.
Exactly.
So, true nonfiction December.
Yeah. But then, spoiler, this is a series. So
yes. So, You're welcome for giving you 6 to read in January
Yeah.
instead of just 4.
You're welcome and good luck.
You're welcome and good luck. So that's it. We're gonna peace
We
out.
did it.
Yeah. Happy
Woo.
holidays from
We
the
are
Magic
so far
Treehouse
into
Readalong.
this. Yeah. Happy Merry Follow Holidays.
Fa la la. Okay. Bye, Lizzie.
Bye, Lucy.